Hello, everyone. My name is Nelson Nader, and this is my friend.
I'm Parish Torch.
And this is Let's Play Mega Man Battle Network 6, Cybeast Gregar. So, last time, Cybeast Gregar got loose on the internet. Mega Man forcibly installed him into himself so that it could be trapped, and now he's in immense pain, and the Cyber Beast might just sort of break out of there like a chest burster from Aliens. So, we need to do something to handle that. We've been told by Iris, who is described by Land's mother as looking very sad and having hair clips, to go to Seaside Area 3 to pick up some healing water. So, we made a friend 2 videos ago, and we're gonna go say hello to him and see if he can help us out. Now, I don't know about you, Parrish, but what do you think about taking a fire navy into a water zone?
I was going to say this is one of the parts that did make more sense playing through in the Falzer version, where Spoutman was your companion Navi. You know, taking him to the area of the aquarium slash water purification plant and getting the special magical healing water, yeah, perfectly on theme. For Matchman, or excuse me, for Mr. Match's Navi though, I don't know about that.
Yeah, I mean, he's happy to do it. You can just see whenever he's looking sideways that massive grin on his face. But at the same time, certainly there's a lot that could be said for it. But yeah, introductions now to some of the chips I got from the big number trader thing. That's Mega Boomer. It flies around the outside of the stage and it leaves grass panels in enemy areas as it goes, which is good for a fire navi because fire attacks are doubled on grass. And it's also reasonably good for multiple deletes. Also, hello, Rare Gunner. Yep. I picked up the Battler card in one of the previous episodes, and what that does is it causes these rare viruses to spawn. You can collect them for a optional minigame. The virus card comes with Metar and Gunner, so I don't have to collect this guy, but he's a nice introduction to it, you know? The other nice thing about it is you can get battle chips from the rare viruses that are levels stronger than where you're currently at in the game. The first version of the rare virus can drop level 2 chips, and the second version of the rare virus can drop level 3 chips. So if you're very persistent, then you might be able to get some stuff ahead of curve if you're going hunting for these guys. There's a point later where I will go fetch them all for the Virus Battler minigame, but a lot of that will be done off screen, and anything that we don't see over the course of the LP here will just sort of be said, here's where I found them, because it's hours of waiting through random encounters until I finally get what I'm looking for. It's...
As with any good RPG.
Yeah. There are some good... there are some good reasons to do the Virus Battler minigame. But, you know, it takes time, and I'm showing it off because I feel it's integral to the game itself. But yeah, that other chip I just used there is Time Bomb. It sets a bomb that counts down from 3, and then once it hits 0, it explodes. The other nice thing about it is it hits the entire enemy area, and it does 230 damage at this point, so it's an instant win for most any random encounter we run into. But yeah, now that Gregar left, but his evil viruses have still permeated this area as well. So now we've got to work our way through the seaside area to sort of fix things up here as we get the heal water. The interesting thing about this upper platform is that, sometimes the gun can be not terribly good to use over these gaps, even though you could hit something in the back. So the sword's going to be really useful to sort of carry over those gaps. The axe can be good too, but you have to hit them at a diagonal instead. So there are a couple of points of interest that we want to get to sort of start with. You want to use 2 swords to sort of sneak into this first area up here, and then you sort of go around the loop so that you can hit the... so you can sort of get to these guys in the spiral and then get to these guys down on the lower level. With that blue evil spirit there, you can actually go, around the bottom spiral, go over a one-way panel, and then hit it from behind, as I guess I'm about to show here. I guess I can also shoot these guys with a gun if I felt like it. Nope, I completely forget what I'm doing, it seems. Well, that's okay. This is the problem with like taking a week break between like recording and doing voice commentary for it. You sort of forget what you're doing.
At least it's nice to pick up on things like that, specifically calling out, hey, shoot this one in the back with a gun.
Yeah. That one there is just sort of presenting its back in a direction, and you're just like, yeah, let's just get this guy here. Those three guys are lined up real easy for an axe, so you just sort of have to force your way in here. I choose to take a little bit of damage here because I can just use two swords, and then I can use the axe, and I'll have more stuff left over at the end to be turned into bug frags. Because this game is hungry for bug frags, and like the top reward that you need to get requires at least 100, and then beyond that, you're going to be spending like 130 more beyond that. Like, it's an insane number, and any little bits that I can get along the way are good for me. So,
yeah.
Wow, I completely forgot to get it from the other side. Wow, good job, me. Wow. Now I'm yelling at my past self. This is great. This is perfect.
In the previous games, before they introduced the concept of LAN and Hub/Mega Man sharing DNA, they didn't yet have the full synchro mechanic for countering enemies. So instead, countering enemies at the end of battle would give you an amount of bug frags.
Right.
And that amount would scale up, I think that was exponentially if you got more and more counters. Like it was 1, 3, and then 5, something like that.
Bug fragments were introduced in Battle Network 2, and there was no counter hit mechanic at this point, so you just picked them up on the network. In Battle Network 3, they were tied to counter hits that you got to delete enemies, specifically delete them. If you were fighting a virus encounter, you're hitting one virus and it would give you 1 bug frag. 2 viruses would give you 3 bug frags, and then 3 viruses would give you 8, and if you counter hit a Navi to beat it, it would give you 10. So that's always, useful. The fun thing here is this blue spirit is immediately set itself up to get shot in the back with the gun. So here I am just sort of lining up, and goodbye. Yeah. And then anytime after that, the counter system sort of turned into, instead of bug frags, full synchro for double damage. And then it really sort of helps give the Battle Network series a bit more depth to it as you go, because there's a vast reward to learning enemy counter timings. It's just a shame that, Battle Network 4, the first game to implement this, almost requires you to do it for good ranks for a very long time, until you just short-circuit the difficulty curve by making your folder 4 life swords and little else, but, the thought's always nice.
Yeah, it's nice to have a faster way of getting through battles and rewarding skilled play, but it is sad to lose out on that source of easy bug frag farming.
Yeah, but then again, 3 required, monstrous numbers of bug frags. You had to be counter-hitting the entire game, and you still wouldn't get close to what you needed for, some of the extra stuff at the end. Absolutely wild. Remember when you had to throw in 300 bug frags to the bug frag trader so you could get a bonus boss to spawn?
Yeah.
It's a lot. Do you want to fight Gutsman 30 times? Yeah, it gets to be a lot sometimes. And I'm sort of considering here, what's the approach I want to take with this? I guess I took this one instead of, reducing... Well, I suppose it takes 2 either way, because I'm using the axe here. But, yeah, being able to pay the 100 zenny to go around the area the other way makes it much easier to handle all of these viruses themselves, and it leaves you with a lot more resources at the end. So, I think I've just got the guys in the lower corner next to the door, right? Yeah.
That's what I remember.
Yeah, I specifically did it this way because, once you, exit this little minigame, the viruses... Well, the regular viruses that are in the area will come back and I'll have random encounters, and I'm a fire Navi in a water area. I don't want those random encounters. It's going to be bad for me. Also, hello, this is a nice opening. Also, this is the one guy who's still, up and awake compared to everyone else who got knocked out by these viruses.
I did notice that. Yeah, I don't think he, quote, has nothing left, especially compared to all those other Navis that literally had nothing left. I think he just gave up.
Mm-hmm. But then again, you look at some of these clumps and you're just like, oh boy, that's a lot. Also, how did he get here? Actually, wait, I think I know how he could have gotten here. But yeah, it's still really funny to me that, like, there's this huge cluster of viruses here and at the beginning. I imagine he was just, like, standing here just like, how am I going to deal with this? And then you just come up here, interrupt his proceedings, and are just like, yeah, I'll take care of this. Sure, why not? And here I'm choosing specifically to get up in this virus's grill because I want to use up the knives instead of swords to do this safely because, you know, those will be useful with any of the big clumps. So let's just take a little bit of damage and get our knife on.
Now, I know you said that you had an idea of how he could have possibly got here, and I don't know if this is the way you were thinking of, but the first place that my brain went was, depending on how convenient it is for the narrative, sometimes we're shown that navis can just jack in and out wherever they want, and sometimes we're told that, oh, for whatever reason, you can't jack out here. And it seems to happen a lot more to the player character than to any of the NPCs, where people will just jack in and appear right in front of you at exactly the most convenient, perfect timing.
Well, in this area, in the bottom corner here, bottom right of where Heatman currently is, there's an entrance from that, like, you can jack into the, like, maintenance area above the aquarium, and then you can go through Central 2, and then you'll end up in the bottom right corner down there. I assume that's how he got here, perhaps. And then, like, the guy in Seaside 2 got here by jacking into the aquarium, and then the guy in Seaside 1, I guess, just walked in from Central 3. But it doesn't explain how the guys got to Central 2 or Central 3 before it, you know? Like, they just got there somehow. How'd they do it? I don't know.
Presumably, they were spreading out all across the net to try and contain the effect of the viruses, and then the viruses showed up and locked everyone to where they already were.
Yep. Yeah, but here I'm taking a lot of damage just sort of right at the end here because I want to be able to attack these guys all from the back because they're just going to turn around after you attack them. So you can just axe these guys. I'll be left with 3 swords, and I'll be right at where I need to be. Excuse me, burp. And I'll be right where I need to be to pick up the healing water, and then I can just jack out and ignore this entire area.
I think taking a little bit of damage there in exchange for getting a few more bug frags out of it is probably worth it at this point.
Yeah, it's worth it. That guy's nuts to send a Red Hat Navi to get water. Like, Heatman knows it, but, yo, check it out! Water! Yeah, all of the Link Navis have this sort of, like, pun thing off whatever they've got going on, so it's kind of fun to see Heatman just be so happy to be here. But yeah, we pick a fight with Circus Man, but he just throws viruses at us instead of, like, a regular fight. Also, hello, this is a program advance. That's a level 3 virus in the back there, and at the top. Goodbye.
Hooray, we win.
You win by choosing your folder before you even go in properly. Like, I didn't even prepare that or anything, it just kind of happened. I'm like, alright, let's do it. But yeah, I sort of want to show off, like, hey, you know, maybe a fire Navi in a water area, maybe it won't be too bad. Maybe I won't get into any encounters on the way back, but, yeah, about that. So
kind of wishful to think you can get all the way out of Seaside area without encounters, though.
Yeah. I thought, you know, maybe the power wave would turn around and, like, hit the fish in the bottom instead of, like, just going straight, and then I could lance the guy in the back. Nope. Gotta rely on the charge up a little bit there. Oh well. Take care, he says. Alright, sure, buddy. You take care as well. Is your friend gonna still be here? I wonder if your friend's still gonna be here. Yep, he's here. He's still sleeping it off. I wonder if the guy at Seaside 1 will be here too. Wonder if he's still sleeping on the job.
Also, I'm kind of wondering what happened to the officials, you know, the humans who were in charge of this, you know, seeing this happen to their navis. You know, are they so damaged or beaten down by trying to fight these spirits that they can't jack out?
That's a good point.
Otherwise, back out and let them recover in your pet once the crisis is over. Don't leave them there on the ground.
I mean, that's a good point, but, like, at the start of this Circus Man encounter here, we saw, like, the civilians fall over, and then the one guy from the net police was like, "Yo, I saved all the civilians by forcibly jacking them out." So, like, maybe if the Navy gets too exhausted, they can't jack out? I don't know.
Which I suppose answer our earlier question about why it's a good idea not to try and press too long inside the copy bot.
Yeah. But yeah, Power Wave is a pretty interesting program advance just because it combines, like, chips that you otherwise might not have that much use for, even though they sort of go through enemies. But even then, like, there are 3 levels of that program advance because there's 3 levels of Wave Arm chips, so eventually I'm going to have to go out and search for what remains. Hopefully nothing moves before the Mega Boomerang can come around and get them all. Nice. Repeating, once again for the record, the number trader is really strong, especially if you played the game before and wrote down all the codes, which, you know, many people have.
Easy way to New Game Plus.
Yeah. You just hit the point where you can finally access it, and then you just go wild and have some fun. So, does this look like a rejection of the healing water to you?
I think there are some complications.
Just a couple. One of the things I sort of like about this is Mega Man is, like, really leaning forward here in any of his, like, attack stuff before, like, leaning back to do any of the roars. One of the other fun things about this is they insert, like, a smaller version of the growling that Gregar does. And if you're playing Falzer version, there's also a squawk that goes on to go with it. But, yeah. I like what they do for the mini versions of the Cybeast fused with Mega Man there. Also, Heatman's fine. He's totally gonna be fine. Like, one of the things that should be happening here in my mind is, like, Mr. Match should be hooting and hollering over there that Heatman nearly got just nearly got deleted, but instead didn't. You should just be like, "Hey, what'd you do to my Navi?"
Just any sort of feedback, considering he's standing right there, and Lan is making no effort to hide this dialogue.
Yep. Like, Land even explained it to Mr. Match, which, you know, he's just, like, Mr. Match is a reformed criminal. Like, I don't know whether you want him to know that or not, but hey, you're telling him. Like, he has to be in the know. Like, wouldn't he be sort of, like, hanging out near Land to just kind of see what's going on, and maybe be like, "Hey, yeah, if you want a little more power out of Heatman, you gotta do this, or maybe use Heatman this way," and then to just see Heatman nearly get wrecked, just be like, "What'd you do?" But then again, I guess Mr. Match is, not unaccustomed to dealing with these sorts of incidents with, you know, being part of the Net Mafia and all. But yeah, we have successfully subdued Cybeast Gregar, Mega Man's okay, and, yeah, things are totally on the up and up from here, right?
Yeah, there will be no consequences or side effects to this either.
Absolutely not. There's not an organization out there hunting for both of the Cyber Beasts. You know, everything's gonna be totally fine. Also, we're getting an email here from Dad saying, "Hey, I guess you beat the Cybeast, so I've installed a control program into there to allow Mega Man to sort of take it for a little bit. Why don't you take it for a spin?" So, here we are. Let's use the Cybeast power for ourselves.
I understand how this makes sense as a gameplay mechanic,
Yep.
but this does seem a little reckless and dangerous.
Maybe.
I mean, they do explain, oh, we're only going to release a little bit of it, but it feels like one of those you give them an inch, or they're going to try and take a mile situations.
Yeah.
Where we were fighting so hard to contain the Cybeast and not let it out, and the first thing that we do the next day afterwards is, all right, well, we'll let it out a little bit. A little bit is fine.
Just a little bit. Yeah. And the other fun thing about this is he's explaining, don't let the emotion counter run 0. We can't control what'll happen. And, like, later on, I demonstrate what'll happen to it in a very fun way. So, yeah, it's great. The fun thing about these Cyberbeast transformations is like their special ability to lock on and leap up into enemies when they use chip attacks is unchanged between the versions, as is the plus 30 to normal type attacks. So like that Vulcan there gets plus 30 for any of its attacks there. So it's going to be really strong. But then in addition to that, you can hold a charge up normal type chips and you'll be able to what's the word I'm looking for? Like turn them into a charge attack for stuff like this. Yeah, where you just run up and slash a guy. The slashes are different depending upon whether you're Cybeast, Falzer, or Gregar. Gregar gets a long sword, then a wide sword, and I think Falzer gets 2 wide swords? I think? Don't remember off the top of my head.
I wonder if it's a wide sword and then a long sword.
It might be. I'm not entirely sure myself. The other interesting thing is Gregar's form gives super armor, which means Mega Man will not flinch when he gets hit by an attack. So the only way to stop him from doing anything is to get him paralyzed. And then Falzer's form gives Omni Shoes, which means you just get to fly over everything. Which means you don't have to deal with ice, you don't have to deal with holes, you don't have to deal with crack panels. It's really pleasant. The super armor ends up stacking up a lot in like the Gregar version between like link navies or crosses that give it and Beast Out itself. But yeah, now we have the ability to run Heat Cross and we have the ability to Beast Out as well. So what would happen if we combined those? What would happen if we combined them? I think that'd be fun.
Ooh.
Yep. The other fun thing about the Buster is like they change it for Gregar and Falzer both. With Gregar, you hold down the B button and it just turns into this rapid fire Gatling gun that's, you know, really fun and really satisfying to just hold down the button for. In the Falzer version, it's just like a fusillade of feathers where it just spreads them all over the place, which like is useful, but it's not nearly as satisfying as the rapid fire Gatling gun. You just press B and you're just like, you know, not sounding like a fart, but you know, the spinning Daka noise. But yeah, we've been called out by a clown. We're gonna go take care of that clown and demonstrate to him what our beast power can do.
I think this is the first time you don't grab that mystery data right next to the...
Yeah, I gotta take care of this clown. I've got places to be. I got problems to solve. There's a big problem going on. I am very excited to show off the extent of Cybeast Gregar's power. Because, like, the Circus Man boss fight was intentionally designed, I think, to demonstrate its full power upon, like, everything else that's going on here. And I guess I want to mess with the folder a little bit here, too. Well, but, like, Circus Man hides in the back the entire time, so any of your high damage chips like swords will automatically lock on and hit him in the back there. So you can just leap up to him, give him a cut with the sword, have a little bit of fun with that. Then here... Oh, I'm putting in a life sword. Alright, yeah. Let's have some fun with that. Another thing I never mentioned about the Navi chips here. The Navi chips I've got a hold of came from the number trader, and I figure, well, we're not going to see the Falzer Link Navis, so I'm just going to put them all in the folder, and we'll just have fun whenever they show up. This is the closest I'll get to sort of showing them off for a very long time. So we got to give them a little bit of love, right?
I am kind of surprised that... Did you put in a regular sword instead of the sword star?
I might have. I don't know. Well, we'll see as things sort of go on here. I'm more focused on talking about things than I am about, like, knowing exactly what's in my folder or not, you know? Which is a bit unfortunate for me, because I'm like, oh, I'm going to talk about this thing, and then Paris asks, like, a reasonable question, I'm just like, who knows? Oops. But yeah, Heat Cross, really good at doing things.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
You can just do it every battle.
Every battle. Like we said earlier, the team's function has been entirely replaced by the cross function, so you can flip back and forth with wherever you want. The Gregar Navis have a big problem of, like, most of the charge attacks are all sort of variants of each other, where they hit straight in front of you. The only one that's different is Slash Man's, but then again, like, I think the Falzer Navies are a little bit different, but I can't quite remember off the top of my head. Tomahawk Man and Tengu Man can hit above and below them, but I don't... Yeah, I grabbed this mystery data and not the one in Central 1. What am I doing? But yeah, we're gonna fight a clown. Are you ready to fight a clown?
A hoo hoo hoo.
A hoo hoo hoo! Set up tent, he says. You know, because it's a clown fun. Trust him, he knows funny. Also, I like how Lan is... They're not lying to Circus Man here. Maybe they should be. Maybe they should be. Well...
Yes, the first thing, an evil Navi asks you is, where did you put the thing I want? And you immediately tell them, not your best move, Land.
Maybe not.
/ Mega Man.
But yeah, this is the point where it's time to demonstrate what happens when you overlap a cross and a beast out. So, the charge attack changes just a little bit when you got the combined form here. So, in this case, it just becomes the big... Well, I was trying to finish him with the Buster, but then I got eaten by the tent. The Buster, in this case, turns into a massive flame area of effect attack. Just breathing all over these guys with a massive burst of fire. It's really fun for hitting a wide area, but at the same time, like, you can't call upon it all too frequently because it takes 2 turns to get yourself set up for it. But, like, if you gotta fight, like, a wood Navi for a while, it might be good. Too bad there aren't any wood Navies in the Gregar version.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And that's sort of the big problem with a lot of the beast out combinations with the beast crosses. Like, it takes a lot of work to set them up and use them, so they're essentially only used when you get to, like, Navi battles and such. Or if, like, a virus battle is going really south, then they might see some use.
And now with that little bit of a cutscene, we know that the main mastermind behind this operation is already familiar with our 2 main characters.
Who could it be? Yeah, but at this point, we're starting to introduce some of the little gears moving around behind the curtain there. And then we'll eventually learn a bit more about that going forward. The game wants you to start thinking of, okay, who else could Yuika here be paired up with? Because, like, Dive Vance guy was just kind of doing things random. Whatever was going on with Blast Man was kind of random. This lady here is trying to work for something, and she clearly had a lot of help from all the contextual clues and stuff. But we don't know exactly who's helping her or why. And now this says, hey, she's got a boss who's very strict. And it's somebody that Land and Mega Man already know. But this is something where they may not be able to, like, people who played previous versions of the game might be shortchanged with taking a guess on who that person might be, unfortunately. It's also kind of fun here where, like, neither of them know what a pavilion is, so they just gotta kind of guess about it. Oops.
It's obviously a more dangerous version of a gazebo.
The dangerous gazebo that's going to eat you. Oh, that's such a good D&D story.
If you're not familiar with it already, highly suggest you look up the tale of Eric and the Dread Gazebo.
Eric and the Dread Gazebo. Yeah. Meanwhile, we're meeting this lady, the home economics teacher, Miss Farron. She's a cook, and she's here to learn a lot about cooking that's going on in this country because she's from somewhere else. She's from a country called Yumland. Yumland is the equivalent of India in these games. It takes until Battle Network 4 to go visit it, but you visit it through the internet in 2, and that's just kind of mentioned a little bit in 3 and 5. But yeah, like, it's a place. People come from there. There's a relaxing Buddha and everything. Actually, what's the name of, like, the real-world statue for it? It's like the reclining Buddha or something like that?
That sounds right. Or at least that sounds close enough.
Yeah. But yeah, we've been introduced to this character, and now we're going to continue running down the hall so that we can hop on the internet and take the expo test. But anyway, thank you all for coming out. Have a nice day.
See ya.